Hello class. Now we will complete the Igetc or General Ed portion of the map example that we're utilizing. As we see here for General Ed, both UC and CSU, we're using Igetc. If we refer back to the earlier video that you had on Igetc, you know that Igetc has 7 areas, 1 through 7, which are listed here. So if we're comparing the previous video on Igetc to map, the sheet that was reviewed earlier, if you will, with the different sections of map, is what populates this information here. So this is the online version, if you will. You have different options for when you're populating map. You can expand all, and all the sections will populate all with the different classes, or you can come in here and obviously click on each section. We're going to go ahead and do that. Starting with Area 1. You'll see first in with Area 1, English Communication. It's telling me that for Area 1, I have 4 units out of the 9 required units. Okay? Earlier, the prerequisites for the classes I was taking for this major required that I take writing 1. So 1 is populated in there already. If that is not automatically populated in your plan, you need to add that because we know that's required for any major. Writing 2, we know 1B is a course that you'll also have to take, so we'll click on that. Writing 2 is then populated to the plan section here. And we know that in this case, we're planning to go to Cal State, so this plan is for Cal State Fullerton. So we'll also go ahead and populate Communication 1 into this plan. Great, so that takes care of Area 1. I'm going to go ahead and collapse that. Area 2. You'll notice that for Area 2, for Math Concepts, it says that I currently have 10 units of my plan when only 3 units are required. The reason for this being that I had you complete the major prereqs first. MAP will automatically drop any major prereqs into the corresponding general ed sections, if you will. So when we're looking at mathematics, it's already populated here in this example. Math 2 and Math 3A are populated because those were major prereqs. At times, they may not automatically populate for you depending on your major, and you will have to come in here and select the appropriate math class. Knowing that we only needed 1, but there is additional classes listed here because that is what's required for that specific major. I'll go ahead and collapse the Math Concepts. Moving on to Area 3, Arts and Humanities. Arts and Humanities, in this case, it says that I have 0 units out of the 9 required units. It says that I'll select 1 course from the arts, so from this section. 1 course from the humanities, from this section, 3B, and the 3rd course can be from either 3A or 3B. So the first thing that I'm going to do here is look at courses that I want to select. If none of the classes in this area apply to your major, then look at it as general ed. Particular classes that you might be be interested in or are required to take that are a little outside of your major. This is where the tool the map has, for example, where you put the cursor over the class, it gives you a brief description of what that class is. Music 1, the basics of music, the number of units, and it gives you a course description. So refer back to that when you're selecting courses here. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and select Music 27, the history of jazz, which is always a popular general ed class in this area. That course gets added to my planned courses. Humanities. Have a variety of options here. One of the recommendations that I make for students is, unless you're a foreign language major, it's up to each student, but unless you're a foreign language major, I advise against taking a foreign language here because of the prerequisites that are at times required. So with that said, the course that I'm going to go ahead and select here in this example will be, again, thinking about what you might be interested in. Looking at the different course description is important to utilize, but for this example, I'm going to go ahead and select Philosophy 1. Philosophy 1 is now added to my plan for this area. You'll note again now that I have 6 semesters out of the 9 required units here. So I have 3A and 3B. My next and final class in this area can be from either area. I'm going to go ahead and select another class from 3A, but I'm going to utilize the placeholder function since I'm not sure what course I want to take from that area. This note that's popped up by MAP says, hey, you're saying that you want to take a course from this area, but you're not sure which course that'll be, which is why I'm going to select the secondary one where it says Igetc Area 3A or 3B. Add. And now we see the placeholder is populated here, saying that a course from 3A or 3B needs to be taken to fulfill the general ed requirement here. You also note that now it says 9 semester units are in my plan for this section, which is what is required. Again, we can utilize a placeholder because we know general ed, since these courses aren't major prereqs, you can take pretty much any 3 classes. So the placeholder is, hey, I'll get back to this when I'm getting ready to register. I'll select the course that I need, depending on what's available, if you will. Let me go ahead and collapse Area 3. Okay. Area 4. Okay, for Area 4, you'll note that for Area 4, it says that I have 6 semester units out of the 9 required semester units. Okay, couple things. Courses from 2 different subjects are required. So at least 3 courses and a minimum of 9 units. Okay, what we call 2 different subjects here, each of these areas for this section are called a subject, if you will. So 4A is a subject, 4B is a subject, 4D is a subject, 4E is a subject, and so on, just as we provided in the Igetc overview video that you should have reviewed already. You'll see that some of my major prep, Economics 1, and 2, also apply to this area. So you see that they're dropped in here, Econ 1, Econ 2. So that takes care of 2 of the classes. Each class has 3 units, or 6 of the units that I need. The third class that I need to complete Area 4 needs to be from a discipline other than 4B, because as it states here, the courses that I select here need to be from 2 different subjects. I'm going to go ahead and select Political Science 1 as the next course that I'm selecting here to complete Area 4. So as that processes, I now have Political Science 1 in my plan, so it is now stated that I have completed the 9 semester units that completed by putting them into my plan. Do you see there's also the placeholder option for this area in case you're not sure what class you would like to take here. Let me go ahead and collapse area 4. Okay. Area 5. With area 5, as you see here, it says that in red, it says I have 0 semester units out of the 7 required. A minimum of 7 units are required. Select one course from the physical sciences, 5A, and one course from the biological sciences, 5B. One course within these areas must include a lab. Courses marked with the asterisk are lab courses. So in the paper form that we reviewed in the previous video, those courses, the lab courses were underlined. But on the online map portion, the courses that include a lab component have an asterisk. For my major, for this business major, there was no science prereq, so I don't have any classes populated here. I can go through and check out the different course descriptions since I pretty much have a lot of flexibility when I'm looking at what courses to take in this area. For this example, I'm going to go ahead and select geography. That gets populated into the plan. 5B, I still need a course that will count for both 5B and for a lab. So I'm going to go ahead and select what's a popular course for 5B, which is biology. This is a college level of introduction to biology, which is different than what you may have taken in high school. So I've got Geography 1 and Biology 1. Now I'm going to scroll down to 5C and select the corresponding lab course. For this example, I'm going to go ahead and select Bio 1L, so the lab portion of Bio 1, which should be taken in the same semester as the lecture portion of biology. Now that I've selected those courses, you see here it now states I have 7 semester units out of the 7 required for this area. Let me go ahead and collapse this section. Moving right along, you'll note that area 6, language other than English required for UC transfers. Since this plan that I'm developing is not for a UC transfer, we're not going to go ahead and enter that. Of course, I mentioned that this area, if I was transferring to a UC, you can get that cleared with your high school transcripts by bringing those into the counseling center as long as you took 2 years of the same language in high school. That's the easiest way to do it. Or you can also take one of our foreign language classes. But again, since this student isn't looking at going to a UC, we won't populate that. Okay. And the last portion in Area 7, U.S. Constitutions and American Ideals, this is a Cal State grad requirement, as we have mentioned. So it's technically not part of a Igetc, but it is something that you need if you're going to a Cal State. You don't need it to transfer to a Cal State, but you will need to take courses in this area when you're preparing to graduate. This is the one section in a Igetc where you can double count classes. So for example, it says that you need Political Science 1 and History 20 or 21. Political Science 1 fulfills this area, but I was also able to take care of one of the requirements for Area 4. So that's a good overlap that you might want to look at. The same thing being with History 20 or 21, if you take that course, it can fulfill a requirement in Area 4 or Area 3, and also this requirement. Let me go ahead and collapse this area. So briefly, that is an explanation of what a Igetc looks like when we're populating general ed within a plan, as well as major prep and the different prereqs. So you see within this plan, the total transferable units are currently 66 and 23